Hey everyone, happy Saturday and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hello, my name is Jessica. I make videos about the Walt Disney Company and whatever else exciting is happening in my life at the time. It's wonderful to have you here. I am super excited about this week's video because we are going to be breaking down all things Adam and my honeymoon, and I can't wait. We had the best time and quite a rager of a honeymoon, if I do say so myself. So I'm super excited to be sharing all the wonderful memories of truly the best trip ever with you guys. If you'll recall, last week I recapped our entire wedding weekend, which included day one of this vacation, more or less. I don't know that I consider it part of our honeymoon because a bunch of our friends were still with us, but it is kind of day one of this vacation. So if you haven't checked that video out already, highly recommend. I will link it in the description below. Monday, October 4th, our honeymoon really kicks off with a 5-night sailing on the Disney Dream, which was Adam and my first ever Disney cruise. After our time on the Disney Dream, we also had a stay in Disneyland in California and at the Polynesian Resort here at Walt Disney World. I do also want to preface this by saying this week's video is going to be a two-parter. There's a lot to cover, and so I'm going to split it kind of right down the middle. Today's video, we're going to talk about the Disney Cruise Line portion, and on Tuesday, I'm going to upload part 2, which is going to be all about Disneyland and Walt Disney World. So if you're interested in that, make sure you're subscribed and keep an eye out on Tuesday for the second half of this video. With that being said, I have my super cute Disney Cruise Line mug that I got on our cruise. I'm drinking my coffee, and I am ready to revisit the best 5 days, I think, of my entire life on the Disney Dream. So let's set sail. Monday, October 4th, we had to get up so early. We signed up for the Disney Cruise Line transportation, and I have to tell you, I will never go back. I will never, as long as Disney offers the service, drive my car to a cruise port. I just don't see it happening. It was magical, it was wonderful, it was so easy. At this point, I know no other way, but I just would not change it for the world, and that is my plan moving forward for all of our future cruises. We were being picked up at the Riviera. We were staying at the Wyndham Bonnet Creek because that's where we got married. So we had to get to the Riviera to be able to pick up this cruise shuttle, and it was picking us up at 8 a.m. As I mentioned in my last video, our best friend Holly stayed behind on Sunday so that she could take us to Riviera so we wouldn't have to worry about catching an Uber at that time. So we were up pretty early. I want to say we were up at like 6:30, got dressed, got ready, and headed to the Riviera because we wanted to be there super early to make sure we didn't miss the cruise bus. Holly took us to the Riviera, we parked the car and went inside. We stopped at Bell Services and told them we were there for the cruise pickup. They took any bags that we didn't want to keep with us, and then we were able to go find the spot where we would all be meeting up. If you've been to the Riviera, there's a cafe right off the main entrance, and we went, there's like a little alcove behind that cafe. That is where the cruise line transport meetup was on this particular day. When we got there, there was a cruise line cast member and he asked to see our documents. So we had to show our proof of vaccination, our ID, and our birth certificate because we didn't have passports. We showed him all that, he made sure it was good, and then we were able to just sit there and hang out until it was time to get on the bus. Holly and I went to the cafe and got iced coffees for all of us, and then we kind of settled in that little alcove and just drank our coffees and chatted until it was time for us to board. Right around 8 a.m., they told us it was time, so we headed back outside and got in line to get on the bus. We said our goodbyes to Holly and she headed home, and we were ready to get this vacation started. I have wanted to go on a Disney cruise like my entire life. The cruise line launched when I was probably 3 or 4. And as someone that grew up going to Walt Disney World and being there all the time, I was constantly seeing the advertisements for this cruise line. And my grandma always was like, one day we're gonna go. And it just never worked out. So I've been looking forward to this for years and years. And I've always wanted to take the cruise line shuttle because if you don't know, it is this super cute bus that says Disney Cruise Line on the side and then little silhouettes of the characters on the back. And it's just so cute. And I was obsessed with them when I was little. I'm still obsessed with them now. And I just couldn't wait to get on this bus. So we got on, and as soon as we got on, I was so excited. The seats had the cutest little pattern. It was so whimsical, so Disney. And we got situated in our seats. We went all the way to the back of the bus because it was closest to the bathroom. And I was like, if I have to go to the bathroom, I don't want to have to walk through the whole bus. And also, Adam and I tend to be back of the bus people. Like, Even on like just regular Disney buses, I always beeline to the back. We got cozy and we chatted away excitedly for the first like 10 to 15 minutes of the drive until we were on the highway, just talking about how excited we were and how much we couldn't wait to get there and get started. We went through all the bag check and everything, and then we were in the cruise terminal. And I instantly knew this was going to be way cooler than the cruise I took at 16 because the cruise terminal looked like Disney. There was so many cute little Disney details everywhere, and it was just so chill. And I couldn't wait to get this vacation started. Adam and I hadn't eaten anything yet. We had only had iced coffee. So we went to the vending machines in the cruise terminal and raided it for snacks and took a bunch of snacks back to a seat and kind of camped out, ate our snacks, and got excited about getting on this boat. At that point, they started calling boarding groups to start getting on the ship, and we anxiously waited for our boarding group to be called. Once our group was called, we were able to go get in line to actually board the ship, and that was so exciting and so surreal. They asked what we wanted to be introduced as, and we were introduced as the Moscato family, which was really exciting and really surreal also. And suddenly we were in the atrium, this atrium that I have looked at online for years and years, and just, I couldn't believe we were finally there. I believe this process looks different during COVID than it normally does, just from my research. So we all had to stand on dots on the floor and wait for this like welcome presentation to kind of be over, so we weren't allowed to just like start exploring the ship yet. And all of a sudden, Mickey and Minnie come out in their cruise attire. I'm so emotional, and they are jamming to "Come On Everybody Get Your Ears On," and just like we're in the parks again. And it was just like this little slice of home at sea, and it was so cute. And Adam and I were both like really blown away. It was just adorable. Also, we set sail in October, so it was a Halloween on the High Seas cruise, which Adam and I are big Halloween people, and the lobby was decorated all spooky with little pumpkins and the really awesome tree, and it was just so rad and amazing to see. And oh my gosh, I just couldn't wait to get started and see everything in the ship. As soon as the little welcome show presentation was over, we were instructed to go to our emergency location, which I believe this process also looks a little different for COVID. On the Disney Cruise Line app, you have to find where your location is, and then you basically just had to scan a QR code saying you had been to that location, and that was it. That was our safety demonstration. Once that process was over, we were able to go and start exploring the ship. We headed to Cabanas for lunch, which again is something that I had heard about and read about, and I was so excited to actually get there. There were so many options, and I remember just instantly as a picky eater being like, wow, I love this, because I could get something and try it, and if I didn't like it, no harm, no foul, but I also could load up on favorites and just kind of pick at everything and not feel obligated to eat absolutely everything. And it was just, it was a picky eater's dream. The whole cruise was a picky eater's dream. Also, the soda was amazing. I got a Coke, which I'm not really a soda drinker. I'm very much a tea or Powerade or water person, but sometimes I will get a soda, and first day of cruise felt like time for a soda. It was the like most crisp, wonderful Coca-Cola I've ever had in my entire life. It was so good. I even tasted Adam's Diet Coke, and I hate anything diet, and even that was pretty good. Don't know what's different about the soda machines on the cruise line, but it was divine. We stayed at Cabanas for a while, finished eating, and then we started off to explore the ship a little bit, and we ended up at Senses, which is the spa on board, and they were having an open house, which was really neat. So you got to see the facilities and learn more about the services that they offer. We ended up booking a spa service for later that evening, which was really exciting, and I couldn't wait. I love a good spa day, so I was super stoked. Once we finished booking that, we headed off to explore the ship a little bit more, and eventually our room was ready. Once our room was ready, we headed inside and checked that out, and it was so adorable. I loved our little stateroom. We had a stateroom with a veranda, which was awesome. Really loved it. Highly recommend a veranda. I don't know that I would go again without a veranda, because the rooms are kind of cramped, and I loved going out on the veranda in the mornings and in the evenings. We also immediately started flipping through the TV just to see kind of what was available. Basically, we were hanging out in the room because we were waiting for our bags, because we needed our bathing suits to go to our spa treatment. So we were just kind of anxiously waiting for our bags to get delivered. So we hung out in the room, looked over the veranda, watched some TV, watched some Food Network, saw some Guy Fieri, hung out. And then our bags got delivered, and we were able to change into our bathing suits and head to Senses for our spa treatment. I don't remember what the exact package of our spa treatment was called, but basically it was like a full package for couples. It started off with us going into a room, getting like down to our bathing suits, and then going out on a veranda that was private and quite large. And they did like a foot soak and foot massage, gave us spa water, and just we relaxed while they did that. Once that portion was done, there was a very large private hot tub, and we were invited to get in the hot tub, and they gave us 30 minutes private in this really nice hot tub with a beautiful view of the ocean. Also, the hot tub was really cool. It had like grooves, so you could like lay and kind of be lounged in the hot tub. It was really neat. It was just absolutely lovely. We just were able to hang out in the hot tub and chat and relax. And again, after such a busy week leading up to the wedding, it was just really nice to have time to like unwind and just be alone with my husband for a little bit and talk and be at peace on the ocean. So that was really awesome. When our time in the hot tub was up, they let us know that it was time to get ready for our actual massage. So there was a door that went into a private bathroom that was attached to the room where our spa treatment was going to happen. So we were led into that bathroom and told to like wash the like chlorine and stuff from the hot tub off. And then we were put in our robes and told to go back into the room for our treatment and get like under the sheet. We had a hot stone massage, which we had never had before. It was really nice. I will say like the massage itself was not the highlight, but it was still really nice, and being, you know, in a spa is just relaxing in itself. So it was a good experience. I don't have any regrets. Once the massage part was over, we were told that we could go out back onto our little veranda. There was this really awesome, almost like a couch. There's probably like a real word for this. Picture a pool chair, but like a really nice one with like a really plush like pad and stuff on it, and then like triple size. So it was like big enough for like, realistically, you could fit like 4 people on it, but comfortably it was like enough for like 2 people to be like spread out. It was so nice. So we were told to go there, and then they served us the tea of our choice and a platter of fruit and chocolate covered strawberries. And this was my favorite part of the entire thing, was just sitting very peacefully on this veranda with fruit and chocolate covered strawberries, which are my favorite, and tea, and just with my new husband at peace on the ocean. It was also at sunset. I think I have a picture of it, so if I do, I'll insert it here. After our spa treatment, we headed back to our stateroom to shower and change for dinner. And our first night's dinner was at Animator's Palette. It was absolutely adorable and totally lived up to expectations. I had a teriyaki steak with these super yummy steamed carrots on the side. It was absolutely delicious, so good. The food on the ship was just amazing, but that was a really great kickoff to our experience. I also forgot to mention, after the massage, when we went back to our staterooms, Adam and I both did start to feel pretty seasick. So we did stop at a gift shop on our way to dinner and bought Dramamine and Sea-Bands. So we took Dramamine the first night of our cruise, which did have an impact on the enjoyment of dinner a little bit, because I think we were both getting a little drowsy, plus we were tired. It was still a wonderful night, but that did impact kind of the events of the night from here. And I also had wine with dinner, which I don't think you're supposed to have wine with Dramamine, but like, hello, I was on a cruise, so what are you gonna do? One of the coolest things about Animator's Palette is that they have incorporated the concept of Turtle Talk with Crush right within the restaurant and right up to your table. We were seated right next to one of the screens where Crush comes to interact, and it was so, so magical. He came over, he called us both by name, he celebrated the fact that we were newlyweds, and then he taught us how to say that we adored each other in whale, which of course was just wonderful and lovely. And all the tables around you can also hear this happening, so it was a really cute way to like engage, you know, multiple people at once, even though we were kind of the focus of it since we were so close to the screen. Our lovely waitress also encouraged me to order 2 desserts because I couldn't decide, and wow, do I love cruising. What a time. But then not only did I order 2 desserts and Adam ordered his own dessert, she also brought a special celebration dessert to the table because we were newlyweds, so we had 4 desserts on the table. My favorite dessert out of all the ones we got was a lemon icebox pie, and it was absolutely divine. It was like a creamy lemon filling with a nutty crust, like maybe like chopped pecans or walnuts or something that was the entire crust. And then there was a raspberry compote drizzled on the side with a dollop of raspberry whipped cream, and it was so good. I could have eaten a gallon of raspberry whipped cream. It was so good. After dinner, we did some more shopping. So we headed back to the gift shop where we had bought the Sea-Bands and Dramamine because we were in a rush to get to dinner. So we just grabbed those things and didn't do a lot of browsing the first time around. My favorite thing that we purchased on this particular evening though was our matching Spirit jerseys. We got these adorable matching Spirit jerseys that say Disney Dream across the back. I'm obsessed with it. It's one of my favorite Spirit jerseys of all time now, and I have several, so that's a high compliment. We also got our super cute Just Married celebration buttons, and I just love them. After shopping, we went to go see Jungle Cruise in the movie theater, and we didn't make it very far. I only made it about 5 minutes in, and then I started to nod off. I think Adam made it maybe about 15 or 20 minutes before he also started to nod off between the tiredness and the Dramamine, so we decided to leave and come back another night to see it. The theater was absolutely gorgeous though, and so comfortable. Once we were both dozing off, we decided to head back to our stateroom and get a good night's sleep, so we were ready for day 2. So that brings us to day 2 of our cruise. I woke up around 8ish and went to find coffee. I found my way to the Cove bar and ordered an iced pumpkin spice latte. It was so peaceful. There was absolutely no one on the deck that early, and it became something that I really enjoyed doing for most of the cruise. So I got my little iced pumpkin spice latte, and then I found this really awesome chair that was like huge and had like almost like a canopy over the top and overlooked the ocean. It was like up against the glass, and I just sat there and drank my pumpkin spice latte and felt the ocean breeze, and it was so peaceful and serene and wonderful. Once I finished my coffee, I headed back to the room, got Adam awake, and we went and got breakfast at Cabanas. It was once again delicious, and the bacon was super, super good, which is a highlight for me. On our way out of breakfast, we got to hang out with some friends. I was astounded at the number of characters that were out and about on the ship, and it was one of the most magical parts of the entire Disney Cruise Line experience for me. Rapunzel was downstairs in the atrium, and we got to approach her similarly to how it is in the parks currently, but it wasn't quite like this yet in the parks. We were able to get close to the characters and have dialogue with them and take pictures with them, but we weren't able to like actually have physical contact with them or hug them. I was able to have a conversation with Rapunzel for the first time in over a year, and I was so emotional about it, especially seeing as we had just finished our Tangled themed wedding. We told Rapunzel all about our wedding and how much her and Eugene's love story had inspired us and how much of an influence they had on our special day. And she was so engaging and wonderful and lovely, and it was just such a surreal moment and so wonderful. There also just like weren't a lot of people swarming these characters, so we were really able to have kind of extended conversations and really engage with them in a way that you can't do in the parks, which is really awesome and something I wish could be the case in more places. After we were finished chatting with Rapunzel, we made our way across the atrium where Tiana was hanging out up on a balcony, and no one was engaging with her either, so Adam and I chatted with her a bit. We made our way up a floor and saw Donald, and again, haven't really gotten to engage with Donald in a long time either. Obviously less conversational, but it was still so magical and wonderful to see him. Once we were done with our little character interactions, we headed up to Currants on the deck and ordered recorder legs, which are some of our favorite ciders, and I couldn't believe they had them on the ship. After that, we went to Disney Toons trivia, which was an actual blast. Frankly, I would have spent the entire cruise in different versions of trivia if I could. I love trivia, whether it's trivia that I know about or that I don't know about. I just think it's so much fun, and to do Disney trivia of any kind is always just an absolute blast. So I was so happy that we got to go do this. We didn't win, but we were in the top 3. And the reason we didn't win is because of the song Jack's Lament from Nightmare Before Christmas, which, what? I know very little about Nightmare Before Christmas, but also what a random song from Nightmare Before Christmas. It was still such a fun time, and just being surrounded by a bunch of other Disney fans and getting to guest Disney music was really fun. About midway through the day, we had a mixology class. If I'm not mistaken, it was $25 a person, and we got to make 5 different cocktails. Highly recommend if you're over 21, if you enjoy alcohol. It was a really good time and a really affordable way to get engaged and to learn something new and just to do something unique that you can't do, you know, in a lot of other places. So highly recommend the mixology class. I think we will definitely do it again on our next cruise. It was so much fun. I will say the cast member who led the mixology class was so fun. And it was definitely adult. Like, there were some curse words thrown out. There was some adult humor. Nothing crazy, but it was something you did not normally expect to hear in a Disney setting. After that, we headed back to the stateroom and got changed into our swimsuits and went up to the adults only deck to hang out in the pool. The adults only aspect of Disney cruising is certainly one of the best parts of the whole thing. So first we went to, I forget the name of the bar, but there's a bar where you can literally sit with your feet in the pool. Like, there's like bar stools and your feet are in the pool and you can order. And we got the drink of the day, which the drink of the day changes every day, and it's $5. So rad. I forget what it was, but it was good. and we got the drink of the day, and then we headed over to one of the adults only pools where it's like you sit in water, but it's not very deep water, and then there's like a fountain that like spews more water from like overhead. And at one point everyone left, and it was just me and Adam in this adults only little pool, and we had like the best conversation. Eventually we had to end our time in the adults only pool because it was time for our dinner at Palo. If you're unfamiliar with Disney Cruise Line, Palo is a signature dining experience that is only for adults, and it is an additional cost to your cruise. And we just had the best experience. So we were seated at our table. It was this really lovely booth that was like a half circle this way with the table in front of us, and we faced the ocean. It was stunning. The view was just absolutely spectacular, and it was at sunset. We're getting really lucky with sunset views on this cruise. And it was just the coziest, quietest little booth. It was so nice. And we had a glass of Moscato, since that's our last name. We toasted to our new marriage. It was beautiful. And then for our entree, I had a steak. Adam had a pasta. It was absolutely delicious. We ate all of it. It was so good. I, again, am picky, and I usually don't eat everything on my plate. I devoured that food. It was so amazing. And I had some of Adam's too, like I was picking at it because the pasta was so good. While we were eating, another Disney Cruise Line ship passed us on the water. It was so cool to be on a Disney cruise ship and watch another Disney Cruise Line ship pass at sunset. It was surreal and magical and so neat. I can't get over it. It was just, we had the best conversation. It was so romantic. It was just such a good dinner. Our seating at Palo was at 6 p.m. and we didn't leave until 8:20. So we really, I think, got our money's worth out of the experience. It was absolutely wonderful, like I said, and I highly recommend to any adults watching this who are planning on going on a Disney cruise. It was so great. After our time at Palo, it was time for our first live show of our cruise. So this was our night to go see Beauty and the Beast. Everyone was so talented, and the production side of it, so much had to go into creating that show. It was beautiful. After that, we did some more shopping. We got some gifts for Ava and for some of our other friends to take back home. And then it was time for Disney Ever After, the fireworks show at sea. Y'all, if you've watched this channel for any period of time, you know I am a fireworks girl. I love fireworks. It's my favorite part of Disney culture. It's what I live and die for at Disney parks. And so of course I couldn't wait to see fireworks on our ship. While we were waiting for the show to start, they played a bunch of different Disney bops, kind of like leading up to Fantasmic, which made me a little bit emotional. I cried the second the fireworks started. It was just honestly too much to handle to see fireworks in the middle of the ocean on our first Disney cruise right after getting married. It was stunning and surreal and wonderful. And our first fireworks as a married couple, which was really rad. It was beautiful. It's very short. I think it was less than 5 minutes, but absolutely beautiful and amazing that they're able to do that off of a cruise ship. So cool. As soon as the fireworks were over, they played Firework by Katy Perry, which is my best friend Holly's favorite song. And so it definitely was a little emotional just because I missed her and Doug so much. Adam and I, as much as we were happy to be on our honeymoon and happy to like have alone time, and we were really enjoying each other's company, the whole time we were on the ship, we couldn't stop talking about how much we couldn't wait to come back with Doug and Holly, because like the 4 of us as a group would have so much fun on a ship. And certain things we like couldn't wait for Ava to see and stuff. So having firework play on the second night of our cruise was very like, oh man, I wish Holly was here. After that, we headed back to the room and we ordered room service. We got cookies and fries, which what a combo. I love getting room service. It was one of our favorite things on the ship. We got room service so many times. If you don't know, room service is also included in the cost of your cruise. What an experience. We got room service a ton. This night we just had little snacks on the veranda, and then we went in to watch some HGTV and some Food Network before it was time for sleep. Day 3 of our cruise, we woke up and we were in Castaway Cay. We had a bit of a slow start to the morning. I got us some coffee and we got ready and headed out to Castaway Cay. Actually, getting off the boat was so wild after being out at sea for a couple days. There's a tram that takes you from where the ship docks to the actual island where there's activities. And so we got on the tram, also our first tram ride since the start of the pandemic. And it was just so cool to actually be there and seeing all these things in person. We had arranged to ride bikes on Castaway Cay. We had paid for that in advance. It was really affordable. I think it was $13 a person. So we headed to the bike rental location to pick up our bikes. It was so fun riding bikes on Castaway Cay. We had such a blast. It was exhausting and it was hot, but it was really fun. We got to ride the bikes over this landing strip that says Castaway Key in huge letters, and we headed over to this beautiful lookout where they had like a little water station, and you just had this kind of really cute private viewing area of the beach ahead of you. We had the bikes for I think an hour, and I think we probably rode them for like 30 or 40 minutes. It was well worth it just to say that we did it. It was a really cool experience, and I'm happy that we had the chance to do it. We had to go back to where we got our bikes from to drop our bike rental off, so that was close to Cookies 2, and that's where we ended up eating. I loved the food at Cookies 2. It was so good. I had a chicken leg and this pasta salad. I could talk about this pasta salad for the rest of my life. I think about it all the time. It was so light and so good and so summery, even though it was October, and it was just the perfect complement to this barbecue meal. It was so good. They also had banana soft serve ice cream, which, if you know me, I am obsessed with things that are banana flavored. If something says it's banana, I'm all about it. And so having banana soft serve ice cream on Castaway Key was so great and so exciting. It was so delicious. After lunch, it was finally time to head out to the water. The water was so crystal clear, so blue, absolutely stunning. The prettiest beach I think I've ever been to. It was amazing. We had also pre-rented inner tubes to float in the water in. We got our inner tubes and headed to the water, but we kept getting pulled in. The current just kept pulling us back to shore, and then we would try to push ourselves back out, and then we just kept getting pulled in. And after about the 10th time of doing that, we were kind of like, okay, I'm kind of done. Like, I'm kind of done just doing this, and it was time for us to head back to the ship after that. We decided this would be a good opportunity, since we were already in our swimsuits, to get some time in the pool type areas on the boat that normally had a lot of people. There are these amazing hot tubs that are completely against the water, and they have a glass bottom, so you can see what's happening underneath in the ocean, and you can also look out into the ocean. So we grabbed a drink and waited in lounge chairs for one of those to free up, and then we had a good 20 minutes in this little personal hot tub with the glass bottom to float around. It was really, really nice, and something I'd wanted to do from the second that we saw it when we walked on the ship. At this point, it was time to face a pretty large fear I had, and that was the aqueduct. I'm a scaredy cat. I don't do well with roller coasters. I don't really do water slides, and I was horrified of the concept of the aqueduct. But it was our first Disney cruise, and it seemed wild to not do the aqueduct. So we did it. I was having an absolute panic attack. I was so scared, and it was so much fun. I'm so glad we did it. It actually ended up being a total blast. It was really smooth. There was nothing scary about it. It wasn't very fast. Going out over the edge of the ship and seeing the ocean was really beautiful. However, I was so panicked the first time we did it that we had to go back and do it again so that I could actually enjoy it. But it was really fun, and I'm so glad that we ended up doing it. After the aqueduct, we dried off for a couple minutes, and then we headed back to the room to change, and then it was time for more shopping. After shopping, we went to see Mickey's Masquerade, which was the Halloween performance on the ship. It was out on the pool deck, and all the characters were in their spooky costumes, and they did really cute little dances, and it was definitely geared towards kids, but I'm so glad we saw it and that we got to see everyone in their spooky costumes. Also, they played Boo to You before and after the show, so big points there. After the Masquerade, it was time for dinner at Enchanted Garden, and it was pirate night. Enchanted Garden was really cute, really loved the theming. It was just a really quaint little restaurant. I don't love pirates as a theme. I'm a pretty big girly girl, so the pirate vibes aren't really my scene, but it was still really fun and engaging and a cute addition to our cruise. I could have lived without it, but it was fun. For dinner, I had a shrimp cocktail type situation and a beet carpaccio, which was delicious. Another standout from this dinner was a caramel macadamia nut cheesecake, which was absolutely divine and to die for. I swear, they killed desserts on this cruise. Like, all the food was good, but the desserts, oh my God, so good. We had the nicest surprise when we came back to our room after dinner. Rapunzel had the character attendant that was with her write us a really lovely note about how much she enjoyed hearing our story about our wedding and how nice it was to chat with us, and it included a picture of her, not with us, but a picture of Rapunzel. It was so lovely. It's something we will cherish forever, and it literally made me cry. We settled in and watched Food Network, and that was the end of this day of our cruise. Day 4 of our cruise was Castaway Cay Round 2. However, after our first day in Castaway Cay, Adam and I had decided we really didn't need to go back to Castaway Cay and we would rather enjoy more time exploring the ship. So that was our plan for the day. Something that is sort of out of character for me, but that I really wanted to do was go for a run on the treadmill at the gym at some point during this cruise, because the treadmills were pushed up against glass and overlooking the water. And that was just something that sounded really fun to me. I don't love to work out. I really hate working out, but I do love to run on a treadmill with my music blasting. It is something I find very therapeutic. So I got up super early, grabbed my headphones and headed to the gym and went for a run on this treadmill overlooking the water. And it was such a great start to my day. Adam woke up as soon as I got back and we headed to Royal Palace to have breakfast. I really wanted to have at least one sit-down breakfast on the ship. We had been doing Cabanas, or we'd just get a snack or something, but I wanted to do at least one of the scheduled rotations for breakfast. So we headed to Royal Palace and it was so lovely. We were sat under a gorgeous, large, sparkly chandelier, and it was really nice to have a proper sit-down breakfast on the ship. We didn't have any immediate activities on our agenda, so we headed back to the room and actually watched a couple episodes of Chopped on the TV. It was the most exciting thing that had been on TV like the entire trip, and we were both pretty tired from waking up early, so we just took a little break, watched a couple episodes of that, and then headed out for our next activity, which was pub trivia. We were not great at pub trivia. It was like very random, like actual trivia with like, here's some history, here's some film, here's just like random things. So we didn't do great at it, but we also were not the worst, and that was an accomplishment. And it was still really fun because, like I said, I just love trivia. Right after pub trivia, we went to Disney trivia. I was really hopeful Disney trivia was gonna be parks related. However, it was almost entirely movie related. There was only one parks related question, but it was still really fun. After trivia, we went back to the room and changed and headed to the early showing of Disney's Believe, and it was so good. I loved it so much. The actual plot was super corny. To be honest, I could have just done without the plot. They could have just forgotten the concept of having a plot. It wasn't important to me. What was important to me was the plethora of characters and stories represented in this show that absolutely made me cry. Pocahontas came out on stage and did absolutely amazing, and there was a Grandmother Willow animatronic, and I lost it. There's also a portion of the show where Tiana comes out and sings Dig a Little Deeper, and it was an absolute party. It was such a cool scene. Everyone in that scene was so talented, such phenomenal singers. It was just so good and such a brilliant part of the show. Our cruise director also gave a really moving speech about how wonderful it had been to see the theater full again after being dark for COVID. And she was really emotional, and that made me really emotional. And it was just a lovely speech to, you know, kind of introduce this show at the beginning. It was a great night of entertainment and a great last show of our cruise. After that, we had dinner at Royal Palace, which is also where we had breakfast. It's so pretty in there. I did not mind being there twice, and it was a really good dinner. I had one of my favorite items of the trip. It was chilled shrimp and lobster with a creamy dill and horseradish sauce. It was so, so good. Then Adam and I went to an 11:15 showing of Jungle Cruise. I was really tired and knocked out again about 30 minutes into the movie, but Adam did stay awake during the whole thing and really enjoyed it. I enjoyed dozing off in a comfy and pretty theater. After Jungle Cruise was over, we headed back to the room, and that was the end of day 4. And that brings us to the last morning of our cruise. That morning, I emotionally woke up, we finished packing up our stuff and got off the ship. We dropped off our luggage and got back on the cruise transportation to take us back to Walt Disney World. And this time we were headed to Coronado Springs, where we would be staying for one night. And that's where I'm gonna leave it for this video. I have nothing but good things to say about the Disney Cruise Line experience. I'm so, so happy that we did it. I think they handled COVID well. I think it was absolutely magical and wonderful, and I can't wait to go back. So that is the first half of our honeymoon. I hope you guys enjoyed hearing this little trip report of our first Disney cruise. To hear about the rest of our honeymoon adventure, make sure you tune in on Tuesday to hear about our adventures in Disneyland and Walt Disney World, because that was just as much fun. If you guys enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up for me. In the comments, let me know if you've been on a Disney cruise before. What are some tips that you have? Because as I am looking to go on more cruises, if you've got any like insider tips or cool things that I should know or check out for next time, leave them in the comments. I'd love to hear them. And for more magical Disney and life content, don't forget to subscribe. Thank you guys so much for watching. Have a magical day, and I'll see you real soon. Bye.